Hey there, you. Jill, aka the Mentor Mom, back today to continue the discussion on foundational language skills. So, today I'm going to break down and go a little bit more in depth into engagement, which is step number one. So, here we go. So, when we're talking engagement, we're talking about engagement not just with people, but also with the environment and with objects. And without engagement, we really can't teach our little ones, right? Because if they're not paying attention to us, how can they learn? This is something that we see frequently with children on the autism spectrum. Engagement is often difficult for them. But that doesn't mean that a child who struggles with engagement necessarily has autism. I've met many students over the years who struggled with engagement that later on did not have autism. So keep that in mind, okay? Before you start to worry, okay? Some kids are just more slow to warm, and it just takes a little bit more work to kind of get inside their world. Okay, so we're going to talk about some strategies on how to do that in a little bit. Let's talk first about responding to things in their environment. So this could be, for example, noticing a plane flying overhead or responding to a loud sound that comes from the kitchen. So they're noticing and tuning into the world around them. So that's engaging with the environment. The next part of engagement would be responding to and showing interest in objects. So that could be, for example, an infant responding to a rattle that's being shaken near their face, or if they're down on the floor batting at a jungle gym, they're focused intently on the things that are swinging above them. So engagement also includes that interest in objects. Finally, we're talking about engagement with people, right? So that would be us looking at our babies in their bassinets, and they are looking at us and they start to respond to us and smile and coo. And that's where we start to, once we have more and more longer periods of engagement, right, then we're working towards circles of communication, which I'll talk about next week. So engagement with the environment, engagement with objects, and engagement with people. So what do we do if they're not engaged? What are some things that you can do to help build engagement? All right, let's talk about that. The first tip is to get down on their level, right? A lot of times parents are kind of standing above their little one, trying to get them to engage and trying to get them to look up at them. Well, they're not going to. We need to get down on their level. And if you'll recall, a little bit ago in one of my previous videos, I talked about that light language. We need to get inside that light language to build opportunities for engagement, eye contact, and get them looking at our faces. So that's tip number one, get down on their level. Tip number two is to position things near your eyes, right? So if your little one is hungry and wanting something to eat, holding those snacks up by your face to try to get them to look at your eyes and your face instead of that object, or holding a desired toy like bubbles out next to your eyes. If they look just even briefly at your eyes, that's when we go, yes, okay, you want bubbles, and go ahead and reward them immediately. Don't wait, don't keep saying it, don't keep trying to. They've looked at your eyes, reward that behavior. We want to build that neural pathway so they recognize, okay, I looked at this person's eyes and I immediately got my drink, my food, or the desired object. Time and repetition over and over, we'll start to see an increase in how often they start looking at you as a communication partner. So position things up near your eyes. Finally, the last tip is to follow their lead. Okay, again, it kind of goes back to the first one I talked about, but we need to join their play. They're not going to follow our lead until we demonstrate that we're going to start following their lead. So again, positioning is key. Get down on their level and try to find ways where you can maximize face time and eye contact by joining their play. But the key here is don't take over their play. You really want to be in tune with their body language and the messages that they're sending non-verbally. So if you go in to join their play and they're turning their body away, then we have to try to figure out a different way to join their play, right? Because it's really about trust. if we get in there to try to do something and we just kind of take over this play, we lose their engagement. So for example, a while back I had a little one that I was working with a parent, and this little one had an activity that he really, really, really liked, and it was a challenge for the parent to join that activity. So we practiced getting down on their level, positioning things near our eyes, and then trying to figure out ways to join the play. So we added a silly sound to this particular activity, which piqued his interest. Pretty soon, he started handing us the objects so that we would do the silly noise. So it was one of the first times the parent was able to do any kind of back and forth play with their child. So it was really, really exciting to be a part of that. So you got to get creative. You got to read their body language so that they understand that I'm not trying to stop this activity or interfere with this activity. I'm trying to make this activity even more fun. I always tell parents, you want them to learn eventually that you make everything more exciting and you're the best toy in the room. So there you go. That's engagement. That's why engagement's important, as well as some tips on how to work on engagement for those little ones who are struggling with that. So next week, we will be talking circles of communication and the importance of that and how that's the second step on the pathway to getting to words with our little ones. So I will see you then. Before I go, if you're interested in enjoying these tips and strategies and want more, please hit the subscribe button. Even better, go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter. That link is below as well. I'll see you next time.